of Modernberg, it's actually raining cats and dogs and milk.
We have over 250 children come to Zed Arts every week that take part in drama, music, art, dance, filmmaking, and we know from the evaluation that we do for their regular attendance that has a really good impact on their self-confidence and their self-esteem. But what I was particularly interested in looking at in this project, in My Planet, was about how we could have an impact on their academic achievements as well. So the project was set up to begin teaching all of the curriculum, no matter what they were studying at the time that we're in the school, through creative arts subjects.
1, 2, 3, and!
So we set about devising a project that we could deliver with a local primary school.
My name is Sajda and I'm from Webster Primary School.
My name is Jasmine and I'm from Webster Primary School.
My name is Zach and I'm from Webster Primary School.
We have quite a lot of children who don't speak English at home, or who English is not their first language, and children with certain, maybe with autism or speech and language difficulties, educational needs.
So we started the My Planet project with this show, Ground Control.
Many years ago, in 1974, we launched a rocket ship into space. Its mission, to find a new planet that humans can live on.
So they created their planet, Planet Modernberg, and then they worked with the actors from Ground Control to take those ideas and themes forward. We then had 3 weeks in school to explore that further through all of the different creative subjects.
It was very different for a lot of the children. So for some of them, I think it was sort of, they didn't quite get every aspect of it, but just the fact that it was new meant that it was really engaging, and they all still remember it and are able to talk about it.
We brought Sarah Atta in, who's a musician, so she covered everything that they need to do. They wrote their own national anthem, they put it to some music and they played that and they learnt to sing to it. And they covered all of the different things that you have to cover in music in year 4. So we knew what subjects we had to cover within the national curriculum or the curriculum that the school's studying. And then we tasked those artists to go away and find imaginative ways to do that.
My name is Emma Kenny and I was running the comedy drama workshop about science. So you've got some food in your belly, in your stomach. All right, and we are going to go on the same journey as the food. Specifically looking at the digestive system in humans. So the kids went on a journey, going inside the body, starting off on a plate, going into the mouth and going step by step through the mouth, the esophagus and the stomach, and breaking it down exactly what happens. And there's no scripts, there's nothing for them to get stuck on. It's just what comes out of their mind, the first thing that they say. Everyone knows how to play.
Over the past couple of days, we've been looking at stories, and in particular mystery stories and myths that they can relate to their fictional planet of Modernberg that they've been looking at. And some myths and legends about mysterious disappearances or monsters or curses and things like that. So we've been looking at how to write our own mystery stories, but also we've been looking at the language we can use, the vocabulary we can use, how a story is constructed, a beginning, a middle and an end, and what the characters are in the story, how you introduce the story.
She smelled of cheese. She was a cruel, wicked witch who smelled of cheese. Now we're getting a picture of what this witch is like, right? What do you think this witch is like? Loud, spindly, sharp,
attacking and red.
So,
Yeah.
question about this.
Can you tell me
Robin's
what
a great storyteller. You know, he really drew them in and showed them how to write stories, how to tell stories. And I think one of the highlights of that for me watching them was when there was some kids that just would never have come up and stood at the front of their class and read out their work at the start of that project. They were getting up there and they were having a go and they were reading it out and they had the confidence in what they'd written. And I think that was starting to become a real turning point for the project.
Where the flowers grow, everything they see, grass, trees, and leaves, this is my world. Flowers and trees as they dance in the breeze, this is all around, beautiful, big, this is my world.
We had one of the guys who came in as a rapper called Ali, who came in and worked with the children, and he's from Libya, and we have some Libyan children in the class, and for them it was absolutely fantastic because they're into music, but to kind of actually see somebody there who they really identify with and doing the things that they like to do is so powerful for their self-esteem and their future motivations.
Your choice.
Oh, it's my choice.
It has a panther and it has a guitar that I can play when I'm feeling a little bit sad.
I'm annoying. I'm funny, but I'm suddenly not boring. Yeah. It's the Earth's crust. We made it with Play-Doh. I got Earth.
And how did you make it?
You have to get some bread, you have to make a ball, then you get the inner core.
Yeah.
Then after that you get the mantle, then you have to put seed, and then you need to put the continents on it.
You had to teach volcanoes and earthquakes. You had to do it in a creative way, and you had to link it to My Planet and Planet Modenburg. So there was 3 levels. That was quite difficult for some artists to grasp, and maybe we needed a bit more time with some of them to do that planning. But she really got it, and that just resulted in the kids loving it, even though there was vinegar all over the classroom and it stank to high heaven. It was a fantastic day.
This is Mount Kakuna, is that right?
Yeah.
Mount Kakuna, okay, from planet Modenburg. I think art lends itself really well to teaching anything really, but it was difficult for me getting my head around it because it's a different way of working for me. So there was a lot of preparation. There was a lot of, because obviously I have to understand the concepts before I can explain them to anyone else.
So do you think it's important to see lots of different jobs and lots of different industries so you can get a good idea of what you want to do?
Yeah.
So we got to go and see a real life working environment, meet people who really work there, which was fantastic for the children aspirationally because they got to see real examples of industry and people working in the workplace, so they got to speak to people who have been doing apprenticeships.
They got to see a train tip on its side and then have their lunch in the first class carriage, and they just loved that. This was really important to the North West Business Leadership Team and to us to take them out, to expose them to other careers. When we asked them what they wanted to be, a lot of them said a doctor or a teacher, people that they came across in their everyday lives. What we wanted to do was show them that out there's so many other things that you can be.
Trains are an amazing place. Some of us got to drive the train.
Did you? Did you get to?
Yeah. Yeah, like set up the tree like you know when you open a car and then you start driving it. We just opened the train.
We work with the University of Manchester and BASF, who are a science and engineering organisation, and they're both part of the North West Business Leadership Team. So they did a science day here, and again they looked at the whole of the science curriculum for year 4 in one day and covered everything in one day, and they did really crazy experiments with Laurie, who was the science lecturer who came from the University of Manchester and delivered that. That was followed up by the business leadership team providing them with a set of class books for experiments that they could do in class. So taking it back into the classroom and giving the teacher some techniques that he can carry on using what we've learned in My Planet and this project going forward into year 5 and beyond?
We came to the darts and we did loads of experiments.
Today we were practicing different science experiments. We were doing things like adding dye to water, and we added some vegetable oil to see what it looked like.
I'm going to make a hole in the bottle and you will see how much pressure this water, the gas in there is under. Ready?
We had a chemist that came and I really enjoyed doing all the experiments with her. So I thought that kind of changed what I want to do in my career. So ZArts kind of helped me choose a better career.
We did an activity where they had to draw what they thought an engineer looked like.
So this is a question that you can all start thinking about now. What does an engineer look like?
So almost exclusively sort of like men. Some of them sort of misunderstood it as scientists, so it's like men in a white coat, that kind of thing.
And he has a gold top with grey, so in the night he can see the grey stripes when he's building. An engineer looking at a picture of a house, he's saying, how are you going to draw this? Or how are you going to do this? I learned about engineers.
What have you learnt about engineers?
They build stuff on stuff like tunnels and stadiums.
So I think just seeing that anybody can do it. It doesn't matter how old you are. It doesn't matter what ethnicity, religion, where you've come from.
I think in the industry that we work in personally, it goes engineering and creativity go hand in hand. I think them two things collaboratively work together and create a staff that will take on new ideas and create things and put things actually into real life.
We're at a really exciting time at the moment in this industry. We're standing on the cusp of the 4th industrial revolution, or Industry 4.0, as we keep reading about in the press. And basically what that means is technology is just changing at an exponential level, and the knock-on impact of that for us is that we're looking to recruit people to do jobs that haven't even been thought of yet, to work on products that have not been invented yet. So we need real creative people who can look forward and see things that we can't.
Engineering.
Did you want to be an engineer before this project?
Before I'm in this project, it's because when we're talking about what we can build in this planet, there's lots of new things that I knew, and I said, oh, in the future I might could build this and build this and build this, and then I said I said I want to become an engineer.
So you can build all those things?
Yeah.
One of the other trips that we went on was to the planetarium at Daresbury, and that was great because obviously it was all about their planet and in space, and so they got to go in an actual planetarium, which was brilliant. They loved it. They got to see the stars, where their planet might be. They get to hold a bit of a meteor that was hundreds and thousands of years old in their hands and plot where their planet might be in space. And again, it was hands-on, it was interesting, it was something totally different, and they really loved that. That was fantastic.
When learning stuff from a creative way, it makes it more fun to learn and it makes me remember more. From doing this project, it's made me think about learning more things and trying to do different things and do more stuff.
I learn more when I'm doing the creative things because it makes my brain work a lot. I need to do this, I need to do that. My brain is working a lot.
So one of the key things that I think we discovered during the project, that doing things in a different way, teaching through creativity and not in the traditional way, meant that even though some of the framework wasn't in place that the students usually found, that they had a much more inspiring time learning, that they had much more conversations between each other, They listened to each other more. They understood that there was different opinions to theirs, and that we heard the voices that you wouldn't normally hear in the classroom.
When ZARTs come, we go to them, and then we have to go back to school later on, and then we start doing normal learning. It kind of it feels a bit strange because we've been doing fun activities and exciting things, even though we've been learning similar things, but in a different way.
I think children are these little beings, and it's like a seed. If you water it and you give it sunlight and you put it in the right environment, they grow into these beautiful plants or trees, and it's all about supporting them in that. And so if you take away the sunlight, it'll die, and if you don't give them enough water, it'll die. If the nutrients in the soil aren't right, it'll die. So if you really flourish them in whatever environment it is, teach them English, maths, science, and give them the right stepping stones, but allow them to be creative. And you never know what will pop out of that seed. You might get a chestnut tree, you might get a flower, you might just get, you might get a daisy.
It's the first time we've done anything like this, but by and large I would like to think that it augmented the curriculum and supported it, rather than sort of distracted from it or anything. There are some children that do respond quite well to a traditional classroom dynamic, but for some children, to really kind of grab them and keep them engaged, they need activities that involve them doing with their hands and making, rather than simply reading and writing and getting up and doing drama and moving around. So that kind of approach is really, really important.
Teaching the curriculum through arts and creativity was so beneficial because it got them to think about things in ways that they'd not done before. So it was about them figuring out the answer, but figuring out the questions as well. So I know from industry that they say when they get people coming to be employed now that, it's all very well being able to know a lot of things and have the answer, but it's more than that. You need to be able to get on with people, you need to be able to fit into the workplace, you need to be proactive, you need to be able to figure things out for yourself. So actually just learning by rote doesn't produce people like that. You need to create people that are curious, that can think for themselves, that can figure it out. If you do it wrong, get it wrong the first time, just have another go. Resilience is key as well. All of those things need to be taught in school, and I think that teaching through arts and creativity is fantastic for that.
This is my Drum 5000. It can be a drum, it can be a microphone, and you can pretend it's an ice cream. It's only for £5. Whoa, that's
nice. It helps to consolidate and reinforce learning that the children are familiar with. So some of the things that we've covered are things that the children we've touched on before, and the children have some idea of, but being able to do it in a creative way, whether that's through art or drama, or whatever it might be, music, it really helps them to see it in a different context.
Nice project, and we get to make a planet full of what we want and all the things that we want.